That's how you create a really conscious erotic container around your life so that you can move into arousal with more ease rather than having tons and tons of obstacles in your way. Hello, you gorgeous and sexy creature. Welcome to Practice Intimacy. This is the place to be to learn all about love, sex, and how to have the best relationships you possibly can. Today we're talking about arousal and what's actually happening in our nervous system that will allow you to be turned on, help you stay turned on, hopefully not get turned off when you want to be turned on. And in order to do this, I'm going to give you a really, really clear metaphor that will probably help you integrate this in your nervous system in a way that's like, oh, I get it, okay? A lot of this comes from Emily Nagoski's work. If you do not know Emily, she is a goddess. She is a sex goddess who is out there preaching the good word about healthy sexuality. And if you have not read her book, Come As You Are, if you have any connection to women being sexual, whether it's your partner, whether it's you, whether it's a close friend, go read this book because it's going to teach you things about feminine sexuality, words all the time. It's going to teach you things about feminine sexuality that you may not know because our models of sexuality have been based on stereotypical cis male response for decades, for about 50 years, ever since, no, even longer than that at this point. When was Kinsey doing research? In the 50s, so almost 70 years. We have been basing sexual response on primarily male, straight people with a penis, their reactions to being sexual. Whereas those of us who identify as female, people with vulvas, haven't had as much research done until more recently, thank goodness. People like Meston and McCall are two researchers that I can think of. I can't think of either of their first names, which is not super helpful, but maybe I'll put it in there in editing afterwards. But if you're interested in the more feminine and people with vulva, if you're interested in their sexual responses, go read Come As You Are. It is so good. Anyway, I digress. So, sexual response. Let's talk about the difference between arousal and desire first, okay? And they can overlap, but they can also be really separate. Desire is I want something. In my mind, I know I want this thing, whether it's solo sex, being sexual with a partner, playing with a particular toy, doing something kinky. The desire's there, but maybe the arousal is not. Maybe my body's not yet turned on, and if I were to move towards doing that thing with my partner, it wouldn't feel good yet. It would be irritating rather than exciting. Because nerve endings, they're actually communicating either pain or pleasure. It's one of those two. Those are the things that they're communicating if they're getting stimulated in a sexual way. Or discomfort. It doesn't necessarily have to be pain. It could just be discomfort. And our receptors that pick up pain and pleasure in the brain are actually the exact same receptors. All that changes is context and what state your body's in, what state your mind is in, and then the feeling shifts. So, desire is I want this thing to happen. Arousal is my body is turned on and excited now. And you could have desire without arousal. You could want to do the thing, but it's not particularly wonderful in your body. And you may take extra time to warm up, or you may do it for however long feels good and then you stop, like emotionally feels good and then you stop. Or it could be the other way around, where arousal is there, you're turned on, but you don't actually want the thing. In which case you got to communicate with your partners, you got to listen to your body and listen to your partners if you're someone who's getting the feedback of yeah, I know that my pussy's wet, but I'm not actually into this. Next, please. Listen to them, because desire and arousal are not always matching up. What we want and what our body is doing do not always match, okay? That's basic words and understanding of the different processes that are going on, but let's actually talk about arousal, okay? So when it comes to arousal, and I'm talking about specifically arousal that's overlapping desire, this feels good and I want it, that's what I'm talking about in this moment. There are two systems running at all times inside of you whenever it comes to being sexual. Just like you have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. So one activates and does things like flight, fight, freeze. Nope, I'm still struggling. Why is this so hard? Sympathetic nervous system. It is an activating nervous system. It is one that allows you to motivate to do something. So this would be the fight, flight response. Parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. So whereas this one is an up regulator, this is a down regulator. So it would do things like collapse if my life is in danger. Just in my day-to-day life, it looks a little bit different. Sympathetic nervous system is running whenever I am exercising. Parasympathetic nervous system is running whenever I'm getting ready for bed and I'm sleepy. And so you have these two different internal states running all the time, even with every single breath. On the inhale, your heart rate increases and you're activating the sympathetic nervous system. On the exhale, your heart rate decreases and you're activating the parasympathetic. And so there's this constant balance happening between, do I want to be more up in this moment? Do I want to be more down in this moment? Are they a little bit more even? So if you're being sexual, there needs to be a little bit of the quite a bit of the sympathetic online. You need quite a bit of motivated, big energy to be able to do sexual acts. But there needs to be some parasympathetic activation too, so that you feel calm, you feel safe, you feel able to engage in a really intimate act rather than needing to run away. So there's always this balance happening. In our sexual lives, there is the same balance. On one side, you have what researchers call sexual excitatory system, the system that excites, gets you up, gets you turned on, gets you wanting to be sexual, and the sexual inhibitory system, the part of you that is going to turn down sexual arousal, turn down sexual desire. And they are moving based on whatever context is happening in your life at the time. So the way that Emily talks about this system is the accelerator and the brake. Really clear metaphor. The accelerator is the sexual excitatory system. It is going to put your foot on the gas whenever you see something sexy, you think about something sexy, your partner walks out naked or in a really hot outfit. That is sexual excitatory. That is the accelerator in your car. The brakes are all the things that are going to be turn-offs. Brakes are things like, I'm really stressed out at work. The kids are screaming. We haven't connected in a week. And the only times we've talked to each other, it's about rent or whatever. That would all hit the brakes. And so, no matter what, if you have your foot on the brake, even if you've got your foot on the gas too, the brake is almost always going to win. For about 80% of the population, if they are stressed out, they are not going to be interested in sex. And for the other 20%, what happens is stress actually hits their accelerator, but when they are sexually active, they report that it's not as satisfying. And so no matter what, if you are stressed out in your life, it makes sex less enjoyable. And everyone has a different threshold for how much is stressful and how much is not. All of us are different. For some people, like, they can be super stressed out and it not affecting them yet. And then one extra thing happens and they've tipped over the edge and they're absolutely stressed out and not interested in sex at all. Whereas another person, they might get really stressed out by a lower level of things happening. All of us are different. That has more to do with temperament than anything. What's important to take away from this is getting to know your accelerators and your brakes. I actually invite you right now to go grab a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, write accelerators on one side, brake on the other side, and start writing down what turns me on, what hits the accelerator for me. Is it when my partner treats me in a way that tells me I'm special? Is it seeing my partner naked? Is it experiencing lots of cuddly touch? Is it words of affirmation from my partner? Is it feeling good in my body, like telling myself I look good, dressing in a way that makes me feel good? Write down all of the accelerators that you're aware of, and then write down all the breaks that you're aware of. Not getting enough sleep, telling yourself that your body does not look good, having an experience where your partner is unkind in some way. Write down all the things that hit your brakes. And ideally, if you're in a relationship, you would share these things with each other so that you can get creative and come up with ways to bring down the brakes and turn up the accelerator. That's how you create a really conscious erotic container around your life so that you can move into arousal with more ease rather than having tons and tons of obstacles in your way that stop you from being sexual. Okay, let me know what you think about this lovely model. Go read Come As You Are if you are in any way, shape, or form connected to women or people with vulvas who you're being sexual with or want to just talk to about sex. Go read that book. And is there anything else? I don't think so. Leave me comments. Remember to like this video, send it to people who you think need to hear this, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.